Okay, you heard of like stranger danger and just say no and all those things that have policemen solve these kind of problems. Well, now we have the Wi-Fi police. That's right. There's Wi-Fi police out there, and there's the Federal Communications Commission. And actually, it's cool because if you're out, with a hotspot, you bought one of these hotspots or anything, or maybe through your phone you got a hotspot, and you're at a convention or a hotel, and it seems blocked, it's not working. That's against the law. That's right. The Wi-Fi police, Federal Communication Systems like Hilton or one of those people said they can't do that. You can't do that. You got to let people use their Wi-Fi no matter what, even if you're selling something that's better. So they can't do that. So actually the last year or so, they passed something, Wi-Fi blocking is prohibited. Persons or businesses causing international interference to Wi-Fi hotspots are subject to enforcement action. And that just came out last year. And so now, since then, all these big hotels are getting their butt handed to them. Like, who was it? Hilton had a big fine, or Marriott, $600,000 because I think their convention center down in Grand Ole Opry or something like that, they were blocking Wi-Fi, so you had to buy theirs or use theirs or something like that. Or here's another Smart City Holdings, which runs conventions. They were socked $750,000. The Baltimore Convention Center, right? They got hit up with a fine of $718,000. Hilton Hotel was fined. All these things. So that's why now, if somebody blocks your Wi-Fi, man, you got power in the system. You just tell them, I'm calling the FCC. And here's what you do. You call 1-888-CALL-FCC, 1-888-CALL-FCC, or go to fcc.gov/complaints. FCC, Charlie, fcc.gov/complaints. Put your complaint, man. They'll come down on that hotel like a ton of bricks. That's what they're supposed to do. Even if you're wrong, they're going to investigate. That's what's so neat about the government. You're not paying them to do it. They have to do it. They get a call, they go out. It's like the fire trucks. If it's a bad alarm, they're still going out there, right? That's what's neat. So you have that power. Somebody messes you over with your Wi-Fi and your hotspot. You got power in the system if you learn to know how to use the system. Okay, watch this interview. A sweet man. He lives in Upper Michigan right now. 5 kids or something like that. Actually, it's kids that are 27, 28 years old. One that's in med school. And he actually just adopted a child too, and they have little children, like, 12 or something like that, that are still in the household. And he just loves what he's doing, not so much for the family, but with the business he found. He always, he was like an electrician or something like that, and had a little store or whatever. And now what he does is the Storage Wars TV show, the people go and bid on a stuff in a storage locker that nobody picked up. That's what he did. He did it by accident. They were living in Florida, and they were going out on vacation in Miami or somewhere like that, just driving around, and his wife was looking at her iPad or something like that and said, hey, there's an auction at this storage house nearby. They went over there, and she was nudging him in the side, hey, buy that. And they bought this thing, the whole locker, for like $225. Wow. He wasn't prepared for any of this. Didn't know what to do. Had to go hire something to pick it all up and take it somewhere, back home and all that. It costed like $800 before he got finished and all. But you know what he made off of that? Almost $3,000. So that $225, turned into $3,000. Said, wow, this is a business. So he started doing this and putting the stuff in his garage, advertising on Craigslist and things like that. Just people would know about it. And the people, he sort of like had a store out of his garage getting rid of this stuff, that he was buying at auctions. Man, and within a short time, now he's been at this like 5-6 years or more, since 2011, full time. His wife quit her fancy job she had somewhere and doing this full time. Now they're up in Maine, in Michigan, because they want to be there with their kids, and they have, on their property they have a big warehouse or barn or whatever they keep all this stuff in. They take pictures and put it on the web. They don't have to use Craigslist anymore and have people come and buy it. They put it on eBay, and millions of people look at it and buy it, and they ship it out for next to nothing, because shipping is very small nowadays. And they have a huge business doing this, taking stuff that people don't use. And we used to call it junk or whatever, but now it's not junk. This is good stuff. It's recycled stuff. This is where the economy's going. We have enough stuff. Now it's getting the stuff that people don't need to the people who do need it. And that's what businesses are like this. They call it secondhand business. But, it's recycling. It's getting it to people. Why pay $500 for something when you can get it for $20 or $30? And so it's a little used. It's still working, right? And it's still good. And that's what the magic of the internet is, because the market now is huge. It's billions. It's not just people in your neighborhood that you're putting things out in the front lawn to sell. What's your chances of somebody wanting that exercise equipment? Very small, but you put it on the internet, man, and the billions of people. And it costs nothing to do. Costs next to nothing. Take a photograph of that. Put it on eBay and whatever. That's what he's doing. Wow, that's right, man. And when you see him talk, what he's talking about is the joy too of being in control of his life. So maybe he's not curing cancer, but he enjoys getting stuff for people that they couldn't afford otherwise. He enjoys, having control of his life. Making money out of it, making a nice living, living the way he wants to, and having control, not being told what to do every day. And I think people who have to live like that, they lose a little bit of their soul all the time. So you watch him closely, how joyous he feels and how relaxed inside he feels. He doesn't have these anxieties like these high pressure people who work for important jobs, doing important things. I'm pretty important. That's why we have road rage and everything. People have to sit in their beltway for an hour to get a job they don't like, and how sad. And now there's so many ways not to let that happen to you. Or you don't have to do it full time. Start trying something like this. It's easy. Try it. So you take a flyer on $100 or something, and you put an ad in on eBay and see what happens. So it doesn't happen, so you blew $100. That's better than trying to get an MBA and blowing $50,000 to $100,000, right? Or quitting your job and wondering how you're going to pay the rent. See, there's so many ways of doing this. So watch it. Well, Todd Culver, I think you just let the secret out of the bag. You're going to be faced with so much competition now from talking to me, because you got the neatest gig in the world, man. You're one of these guys that, I seen on TV, the storage wars, that you go to storage places, get the stuff, and then you sell it on eBay and things like that. And you make it. And you said you just started 6 years ago, and your first thing was down in Miami, where you were just on vacation, went to a storage place, and your wife was elbowing you to bid on something, and $225 later, you wound up with $3,000 worth of business out of that stuff. We got to, man, I can't, that's like selling my stuff, information, which is free. Your stuff is almost free and selling it. And so to do that, you had that. Did you have a sense that, okay, eBay is up there for that? Or how'd you figure out how to sell this stuff? Buying it is easy, right?
Buying it is easy, yep. We didn't start right off on eBay. We actually started off with just some yard sales and Craigslist ads, and that took off pretty quick. And people started to get to know that we were selling stuff all the time. And then the local commission shut us down because they said we were running a business out of our garage, which was like a 7-day garage sale. So then we went more on eBay after that, and sold more out of Craigslist and appointments. and it's turned into a full-time business.
Wow. How long did it take before it, really made a nice living for you?
Well, my wife, I took right off and changed what I was doing and went right into it.
Oh, really? So it was enough for you to leave your old job?
Yes. And then my wife, it took her about a year, and then she left her job. And she was making some really good money at a restaurant management position. And so that took about a year longer, and then she was done. And we've been doing it ever since. We launched in 2011 full-time. So.
Wow. And now you moved because your kids are all up in Michigan, and you were down in Florida, and said, "Let's go to Michigan." So you could have a garage selling this stuff anywhere, right?
That's right.
And so you mentioned that you just concentrate in Michigan area because you got to go get the stuff, right?
Correct. Yep. I tried 200-mile radius.
I see. So so in a day you could come back and forth anywhere in Michigan, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. And so you just got a trailer, you hook it up to the car, have a little vacation, pick up the stuff, come home, itemize it, take pictures, put it online. You said you have are you in your warehousey thing now or what?
I am in the warehouse right now.
Can you walk around and show us some stuff?
Absolutely.
You're on your iPhone, so wow, look at that stuff already. Wow.
A little vintage.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
Yep. And it's kind of a mess in here.
Wow, well, that's just like home. Look
at the shelves.
Wow. So what you have to do is take pictures of each one of those things and put them on eBay, huh?
Correct. Yep.
And just wait. Do you do marketing yourself on eBay, or you just let the traffic take care of it?
Well, we bought an anchor store, which is about $170 a month, which puts us at the top of the list. And so that gives us more of a marketing position on eBay.
That's called a what store?
An anchor.
Oh, an anchor store. Ah, so you're like an anchor store at the mall, and that's only $170 a month.
Correct.
Wow. So in your first gig, you made $2,500. So that's easy to cover, huh?
Exactly. Very easy to cover.
That's nothing. Well, why don't you get 5 anchor stores? No. So does that mean that if people are searching for something, that you'll be on the top of the list?
Correct. Yep.
Wow.
And then if you go to our website, you can see all of our items listed by categories through tools and collectibles and antiques.
I see.
Such. So
you said you had like 800 items now, huh?
Yes, a little over 800 items.
Wow. So, that's what's so amazing. If you had a store doing that, you'd need a store as big as Sears to put all this stuff in. Right? And now you just have this empty garage in the back of your house.
Exactly. 20 to 30 items get shipped out a day, and we print the labels. We print the labels right here at home, and the postman picks it up off our porch, so we don't have to go deliver it to the post office.
And pretty soon a drone will pick it up and send
it. Correct.
Well, actually, I was just reading the paper today. Domino's, somewhere in Texas and also in England, they're using robots to deliver pizza.
I've heard that.
Yeah, the robot goes down the street and texts you in front of your house that it's going to be here. This is the way people buy now. Who wants to go to the mall when it could be delivered and within a day? Yeah.
I'll look forward to finding one of those drones one day in the storage unit.
Exactly. They'll be there. I remember going to an auction at the post office, getting rid of stuff. And a lot of my stuff I used to sell in my infomercials. They had stocks of it, yeah. That wasn't so encouraging, but what the heck. But so there's a big business in this. You have a whole family, and actually you have 4 or 5 children, and you have 2 young kids. You have kids that they're 28 years old, some in medical school, and 2 little young teens running around the house yet too.
We do, yeah.
And you're supporting all these people on secondhand business out of your garage.
It's nice having that, choices and options to do work at home, be with your family more. Yeah. We really enjoy it.
And it's really, before, I think now with the shared economy and, our green economy and those kinds of things, this really makes a heck of a lot more sense too, for everybody. I think people are getting more used to buying used things. I'm not going to use it much, so why the hell do I have to have brand new, And right. And I go to you and I get it for like 20% of value, and That's good enough, man. Better than wasting all that money on something brand new I'm going to use twice or whatever. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's why it must be a growth industry, and it looks like it's fun for you.
We actually wake up in the morning and we tell each other we love what we do.
Wow! Could you imagine telling your grandfather, well, I love selling junk? But it isn't, and that's why people think, have that perception in their mind when you have good stuff. I mean, we are using junk every day, right? I put on this suit I've had for 10 years. Somebody else called that junk. I call it one of my better suits. So why not? And then plus we don't need more trash. We don't know what to do with it. So why don't we use this? And I think that's what the internet does. It makes it more possible for you to hook up with somebody who really needs that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, you're a great person, Todd, and wonderful that you have all these kids that you still get excited about too, besides your exciting business that you fell into by accident and now never have to go on a real job again, do you?
That's right.
And your wife too, who had a real job. And you go to BDGS, that's boy, and then D as in dog, G as in girl, S as in Sam, and the letter 1. Or that's not a letter, it's a number, isn't it? See, got an MBA, cost my family plenty, and I don't even know the difference between numbers and letters. So BDGS1.com! That's where to find Todd and all his stuff, 800 stuff. Thank you so much, Todd. Good luck to you and your family. Take care. Okay, you know what's neat about the system? Is that you could use the system to fight the system. That's right. That's what I tell you. And if you learn to use the system, it's stronger than anybody else that could put up the fight against you. And it's free. And I was reading an article the other day about how they're denying housing, opportunities to people with criminal records. So in other words, to rent an apartment or mortgages and all this kind of stuff, you have a criminal record or something, they could deny it. Well, now HUD came out with guidelines saying, hey, you just can't do that indiscriminately, just deny people, access to housing because, of a criminal record. I mean, forever. It could be, a traffic ticket, whatever they decide is a criminal record, like 1 out of 4 people in America have criminal records. So that's 25%, So you go and try to rent a house, buy a house or whatever, this kind of stuff, or get kind of services for the house or whatever. And if they say no, based on a criminal record, that could be against the law. So what do you do though, if that happens to you? You're going to hire an attorney? No, that's going to cost $500,000, $2,000, $5,000 to fight for you. See, what's neat about the system is because it's a law, we have bureaucrats that enforce that law, that are more powerful than any attorney you could hire because they can put those people out of business. It's sort of like the IRS. If the IRS, you got problems with them and you owe them money, man, what do? You just pay them money, go away, because you don't know what the hell they're going to do, put you in jail or whatever, you just pay. So the same way with the people who fight housing discrimination for you. They could put them out of business. So a person says, oh, I better just give him the house or give him the rent or say what he wants because I don't want to mess with the government and I don't know what's going to happen and I may wind up in jail, right? See, and just you could even be wrong and turn in a housing discrimination complaint and the government has to investigate for you. See? And that's power, man. That's more powerful than calling an attorney, isn't it? The private system, if you give them $500, I'll make a phone call for you. Not the government. You just got to do it. So and actually what's happening at HUD, and Justice Department is doing this a lot too, is about the high number of incarcerations we have in our country for minorities. Like here, African Americans only represent 12% of the population, but they're 36% of the prison population. Hispanics only 17% of the population in America, but 22% of the prison population. So there's something happening there. And what it is, I guess it could be debatable, but the data show that is something strange happening. So if you feel discriminated against, and what is discrimination? Well, that could be a moving target too. But it's based on any housing discrimination is based on like race or color, national origin, religion, sex, families with children, family status, disability, and now your criminal record, So all those now are discriminatory actions. Okay, what kind of thing as an action that you could feel discriminated? Okay, they refuse to rent or sell you housing, if they refuse to negotiate for housing, if they make housing unavailable, they set different terms, conditions, or privileges for sale or rental, provide different housing services or facilities, because of one of these conditions, falsely deny that housing is available for inspection, sale, or rental. Oh, you have a criminal record? No, that's not available, and you feel that is why they're making a decision. Well, you don't have to know for sure, you don't have to be positive, but you feel that it may be true. Okay, or for profit, persuade owners to sell or rent. That's called block housing, block busting. Deny access to a membership or facility or service related to the sale of housing. Refuse to make reasonable accommodation or rules of services if necessary for disabled people for use of housing. Refuse to allow disabled people to make reasonable accommodations. Threaten to interfere with anyone making fair housing complaints. See, they can't. You say, "Oh, don't complain against me," for the HUD, or else I'll come and break your kneecaps or something. That's a violation right there. Refuse to provide municipal services or property insurance or hazard insurance, just based on one of those things. And here's a number you call. Okay, you call 1-800-669. 9777 1-800-669-9777, or you can go online and you could Google fair housing complaint process. It costs no money to file a complaint. You can do it online or on the 800 number. You fill out a form. If they feel they have the jurisdiction, they come out and investigate. These are the cops, show up at the door. And the guy doesn't pay up or change his thing, they take him to court. Whatever, close him down. Whatever it's required. How does that neat? Man, you do that in the so-called market economy. Nobody's going to do that for you without paying them a bunch of dough. And so that's why, see, this is part of the system. But these people aren't going to advertise. I mean, you see on the late night TV, you got a phone, you got a lawyer. These lawyers will advertise. Well, here's something better than a lawyer if you feel discriminated against. And they'll put the people out of business. They have more power than any lawyer that could handle that. So think about that. Because I guess there's a lot of housing discrimination going out there. So you call that 800 number or Google fair housing complaint process and know your rights. Flex your rights. Paying for it. These are lawyers that are free. They just passed a new law to give you $120 a year to help you pay for broadband. That's right. Actually, it's for low-income people, and they can't afford broadband. Family incomes of $25,000 or less. Only about half of them have internet access. And families like making $150,000 and almost 100% have internet access. And if you don't have the internet, man, you're cut out of jobs and all kind of income opportunities. I did a story the other day about a little village up in the hills of China, that they didn't want their husbands or family to go down and work in the factories, and they wanted to make money up in their village, and they got broadband, and they created another little Amazon up there and selling stuff up there. Just tea they grow and things like that, so that everybody was able to stay at home instead of going to the the factories and coming home on the holidays. So that's what's neat. So in this country too, people who have low income and can't afford that, man, you're out of so much in the economy. So that's why there's a government program to help that. And it's part of a long-time program called Lifeline. And if you go to lifelinesupport.org, you'll hear about the program. And the FCC, Federal Communications Commission, just passed a new regulation that will give extra $2-3 billion for this Lifeline program to subsidize your internet, your Wi-Fi, broadband, so you get not only to watch Netflix, but you can apply for jobs or start businesses and things like that. And the subsidy is like $10 a month subsidy for that. They have the similar thing now for telephone, and cell phones even. So people with lower income to pay for that. And the income category, there's an eligibility for this on income, and it's like 135% of poverty level. So that's poverty level plus 35% more. And for a family of four, that's like, I think $32,000 in that kind of range, some more. But you should look at it and apply anyway. If you're close to that or over or whatever, because you never know the ifs, ands, or buts with this thing. Look at that. So if you go to lifelinesupport.org, and you'll see the current program, but soon in the next couple months they're going to have this for broadband. So that means your Wi-Fi, you get extra money to pay for that, and you can bundle up your phone and your Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff, and maybe get even more money. So keep an eye on that. If you don't know, in the next couple of months, if you don't hear about it or whatever, call 211. That's a good place to find out about programs, government programs that are available and things like that. Or your congressman, your elected official. They'll know about it. If they don't, they'll do research and find out about it. And they're always for free. Because if they do a favor for you like that, you'll vote for that son of a gun no matter what they do. Well, watch this next interview, because I think what's really happening in the world now, the internet is just changing everything. I mean, now in underdeveloped countries or in developed countries, it's giving opportunities like never before. Now, this interview you're going to watch is a young woman from Canada. She worked with nonprofit organizations and things like that. And she's now in Ecuador helping women sell their craft jewelry on the internet. It takes nothing. World Bank and these big NGOs, which mean nonprofit, non-governmental organizations, spend millions and millions of dollars trying to make life better for these people. And here's an individual who's just going down there. They're making this jewelry anyway, the Ecuador women up in the hills in Ecuador, and they sell it to a few tourists, and that's it. Well, she goes down there and creates a website so they could sell to the world. Wow. When you think of that, we spend millions and millions of dollars, billions probably, going in, and people like the World Bank and spending hundreds of millions of dollars and trying to make the life better or whatever, and it's only one-time thing. Here is something sustainable, teaching them how to use the internet to make money forever. And she's going down there not as a priest or an NGO or whatever, is making money with them. So she's organized, showing how to do, getting the cooperative together of these women who make the jewelry, and she's figuring out how to do it on the internet, and she's on Amazon now and Etsy and whatever. Could you imagine? Okay, these women up in the hills in Ecuador now are selling their products on Amazon, handmade, and making money there, instead of waiting for a few tourists who come going to climb their mountain and buy their jewelry. Wow. Isn't that exciting stuff? That's what we can do. You as an individual, or any of us, can do this now and teach people how to use this tool. And it takes something. She's not a computer geek or a marketing expert or anything. She just wants to help people. And she sees this as a tool, and she's learning it herself. There's no big magic to it. We all could do it. Like when cars first came, we all learned eventually how to drive a car. And, man, I'm going to get off that horse, And it becomes easier and easier to do. But now, look at the development that's going on. I did another story last year about a village up in China on the hills. And everyone was going down to the city to work in factories. And the people in China didn't want to do that in this village up here. They wanted to stay with their families all day and not to have to go down to the village. So they started internet businesses. They got Wi-Fi up there and started internet business so they could stay at home family. And this interview, you'll see, this is what the women want to do. They would go and travel all week, be gone from home for a week to be a maid down in the city somewhere. Now they don't have to do that. They don't have to be a maid and not see their family or whatever all week, just on the weekends. Now, they could stay up in the village with their family all day, be there for the child or whatever, any problem. Man, what could be better than that? And that's what the technology is doing. It's making life better. It's getting people together. Now we have fabulous jewelry from, Ecuador that we would never see before. Unique stuff. Instead of getting the same old stuff everybody has, because you go into the big stores, they have to sell billions, and so they get the same thing that's the lowest level to appeal to most people, and that's not unique anymore. So watch this. Watch how this tool is so important to us, and it's going to happen whether you hook onto it or not. And that's my only hope, is that we all start learning how to use this in a more efficient way, instead of saying, oh, that's for geeks or somebody else. No, it's you. So watch. Well, Tracy Krause, Artisans in the Andes. And you're in the Andes, man. You're in Ecuador, up in the mountains somewhere. And you were telling me that the temperature is 70 degrees all year round.
That's right.
Wow. And you're originally from Canada, so you'd be freezing your butt off now, even in Canada.
That's for sure.
So you're at the equator, and it's only 70 degrees. That's terrific. Boy, I think a flood of people are going to do what you do and go down there. But you really came there to try to do important work and teach the poor about entrepreneuring, aren't you?
Yeah, that's our goal, is to help move people out of poverty, give them some marketing skills, and sometimes we even help them with English and design work that can work more for a North American or a richer kind of audience.
Well, but it's more importantly, I think in the middle of nowhere, it sounds to me, that's an illiterate American talking. So, up in the mountains, you're creating a market for their artwork all over the world, and because of the internet, right?
Exactly, because of the internet.
Yeah, what would they be doing otherwise? How would they sell their jewelry if the internet wasn't here?
Well, they have been making things for a long time, and they sell to the few tourists that trickle through, but there isn't a big market here.
Well, so now you've shown them billions of people that might be interested in, and then in other words, I guess, you're going on like Etsy, Amazon, and your own website, which costs very little money to start, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and you just figure that stuff out, and you have these people there creating the materials, you're sharing everything with them, and so instead of having the World Bank come in and give them all kind of money, you're teaching them how to support themselves, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really important point. I value, these smaller World Bank things, but it doesn't provide for a lifelong business development. So that's what I'm aiming for, is lifelong business development skills here that can then be passed along to their children, along with the skills that they have already to make the jewelry and the scarves, do the weaving.
And then somebody else will think of another idea to put on the internet. Hey, they're making jewelry. Why don't we do it with, I don't know, maybe adventure tourism or something, and bring more people down here, right?
Maybe. This is an awesome place to be a tourist. It's maybe a little rougher than what you would expect in North America, but there's lots of adventure.
Oh, well, God, you got the Amazon. Wow, what could be better than that? I was down in Costa Rica a few years back with the family, and we had a wonderful time. Out in the jungles and, ripcording or whatever that stuff, and seeing all the volcanoes and the parrots and more colorful birds than I ever thought was available anywhere in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, the Amazon. So much variety.
But you're...
Actually, our jewelry comes from the Amazon.
Oh.
We use nuts, big nuts, about this big.
Uh-huh. Is that what that is? Wow.
It gets sliced and dyed.
Really?
So
Wow.
it's sustainable
Right.
from the Amazon. The nuts just grow on the trees there, and the more that people use like things that grow naturally in the Amazon, the less likely they are to cut down the Amazon.
I see.
Use that land for farming.
Right. So you get nuts next year to sell products instead of eating it once and it's gone, huh?
Right, right.
Oh, wow. So they're nuts? I mean, gosh. And do they dye them, or is that natural colors? Or
Yeah, they dye them. Sometimes they use a natural dye from other nuts and berries that are available here, but quite often they'll just use regular dyes. But they dye them in their homes.
wow.
And slice them in their homes. So it's very much a cottage industry that I'm working with.
Wow. Well, that's how we all start. You know, I mean, whether Steve Jobs in his garage, yeah, yeah, or you and halfway up the mountains in the Andes, you know, in a little village, and these people working on it. That's what commerce is, the backbone of it, I feel, for anything.
Yeah. So we're really working with the materials and skills that exist already here. We're just opening up the market more.
I see. Showing them. So now, what kind of products are they? Is it bracelets, and what other kinds of things?
Bracelets, earrings,
Oh.
and scarves.
Scarves. So what is the material they make the scarves out of?
The scarves are made with a cotton, and it's all hand woven on a wooden loom. I wish I could show you.
Well, we'll show all the websites you got and everything there so people could see that. And how about shipping from there? I mean, does it cost an arm and a leg to send this?
Oh, well, actually, I work with a fulfillment center in the U.S., in Michigan.
Ah, I see.
So I send stuff there, and then when people order it on Etsy or Amazon
yeah.
or off of my website, I send it from there. So the shipping only takes a couple of days, and it only costs a couple of bucks.
Oh, really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I buy stuff from China all the time now, and it even comes from China. It's only a couple dollars. You know, I mean, shipping seems to be not the issue anymore, huh?
No.
Oh, well, you've solved that problem too. So you're down there and you're helping these villagers find sources of income all over the world without having to beg, without having to put your cup in your hand and go to the World Bank or any of these kinds of things. Just to be self-sustaining entrepreneurs in the hills of Ecuador.
Yeah, the women that we work with are really awesome, and they're really excited about working. And the people who buy our stuff, mostly women, are also really excited to be getting something that's handmade.
Right.
That's helping other women around, like here in Ecuador. And they love the colors.
Well, now I mean, your color on your necklace is wonderful. And it seems to me that these women don't have to have an economic development plan for themselves by going to a bigger city or something, leaving their village. They could grow that village where they are from the internet.
That's exactly right. Actually, I work with a little cooperative. There's 6 ladies in the cooperative, and they live in an even tinier village than I live in. There's maybe 200 people that live there.
Wow.
And before we were working with making jewelry, they actually had to go off to Quito and be made.
I see. Right. That's what I mean.
Yeah, so now they can stay at home with their families and
learn a skill
that they feel really is bringing value into the world.
Wow. And it's also into their family because they're not going off and sitting on the beltway for 2 hours to get to this maid's job.
Right. Well, usually they'd be gone all week.
Wow.
On weekends.
Wow. Well, see, I mean, what you're doing is just fantastic. And that's why I think capitalism, even though there are limits to it, it's important. I mean, you find something that other people want and you provide them with that. And you have control of it, too, instead of being in something that you're taking advantage of here. You're being able to give more because you love what you're doing.
Yeah, and there's only room for growth.
Right. The world is growing and your stuff will grow with it. And it's wonderful to meet you and have you there and making us aware of this wonderful jewelry from the Andes, Ecuador. And you go to artsintheandes.com. Right?
Absolutely.
Wonderful, Tracy. Thank you for doing this work and showing us these lovely gifts that these ladies are making. Take care.
It was great to meet you, Matt.
All right.